You're listening to the Full Circle Weekly News of the open source community presented by Full Circle Magazine. These articles are compiled by Eric Theonretti. I'm your host, Moss Bliss. This is episode 438, covering week 45, October 27th to November 2nd, 2025. A new version of FAR2L 2.7.0, a port of the FAR Manager file manager for Linux, Mac OS, and BSD systems, has been released. The project continues to evolve, becoming a more mature and user-friendly alternative for those accustomed to the dual-pane interface of NIX systems. The project's code is written in C and C++ and distributed under the GPL v2 license. A long-standing issue with the built-in virtual terminal has been resolved. FAR2L now preserves the original output of applications running in it, using dynamic reflow with correct line wrapping when the window is resized. This means that viewing, editing, and copying to the clipboard now work with original unbroken lines, improving the ease of analyzing logs and compiler output. Release 5.2 of the 86box project has been announced. It is an x86-based system emulator that can run legacy operating systems and applications, including those used in the early 1980s on the IBM PC 5150 and IBM PS2 computers. Accurate low-level emulation is supported for systems ranging from the 8086 processor to the Intel Celeron Mendocino. The project's code is written in C and is distributed under the GPL v2 license. A graphical interface with virtual machine configuration options is provided for management. Emulation of various peripheral devices such as video adapters, sound cards, network cards, and hard drive controllers is available. Supporting operating systems include MS-DOS, Windows 3.11 or 95, OS/2, various Linux distributions, BOS, NextStep, and other older operating systems. CloneZilla Live 3.3.0, a Linux distribution designed for fast disk cloning that copies only used blocks, has been released. The distribution's functionality is similar to that of the proprietary Norton Ghost project. The distribution's ISO is for AMD 64 architectures. The distribution is based on Debian GNU/Linux and uses code from projects such as DRBL, Partition Image, NTFS Clone, Part Clone, and UDPcast. Booting from CD-DVD, USB flash drives, and over the network is possible. Supported file systems are many, shown at the link in the show notes. A mass cloning mode over the network is available, including multicast traffic transmission, allowing simultaneous cloning of the source disk to a large number of client machines. Cloning from one disk to another is also possible, as is creating backups by saving the disk image to a file. You can clone entire disks or just individual partitions. Fedora Linux Release 43 is available for download. Downloads include Fedora Workstation, Fedora KDE Plasma Desktop, Fedora Server, Fedora IoT, Fedora Core OS, Fedora Cloud-Based, Fedora Silverblue, Fedora Kinoite, and live builds, which are available as spins of the XFCE, Mate, Cinnamon, LXDE, Phosh, Miracle, LXQT, Budgie, Sway, and Cosmic user environments. These builds are available for x86, 64, Power 64, and ARM64, AArch64 architectures. XM 4.99, the latest version of the mail server, has been released. It incorporates accumulated fixes and adds new features. The project's code is written in C and is distributed under the GPL v2 license. According to an automated survey of approximately 500,000 mail servers, XM's share is 56%, Postfix is second on 37.45%, and SendMail is a distant third on 3.53% of mail servers. OpenIndiana 2025.10, the free distribution that replaces OpenSolaris, which was discontinued by Oracle, has been released. OpenIndiana provides a desktop environment built on a fresh codebase from the Illumos project. The Illumos project continues to develop OpenSolaris technologies, contributing to the kernel, network stack, file systems, drivers, and a basic set of user system utilities and libraries. 3 ISO images are available for download, a server edition with console applications, a minimal build, and a build with the Mate graphical environment. Corrective releases of X.org Server 21.1.19 and the device-dependent X-Component X Wayland 24.1.9 have been published. These releases enable X.org Server to run X11 applications in Wayland-based environments. These new versions address 3 vulnerabilities rated at a severity level of 7.8 out of 10. The Nginx 1.29.3 mainline has been released, continuing to develop new features. The 1.28.x stable branch, which is maintained in parallel, only includes changes related to fixing serious bugs and vulnerabilities. The project code is written in C and is distributed under the BSD license. Marek Olszak added a change to the Mesa code base, which will form the basis for the Mesa 26.0 release. This change switches the Radeon SI driver to use the NIR shader intermediate representation, IR, by default, and the ACO shader compilation backend, developed by Valve as an alternative to the LLVM shader compiler. The ACO backend aims to ensure that code generation is as optimal as possible for shaders in gaming applications, as well as to achieve very high compilation speeds. Using ACO improves shader compilation speed, reduces memory consumption, shrinks the size of shader binary representations, and generates more optimized code. Compared to LLVM, using the ACO backend has reduced shader compilation time by up to 8 times, significantly reducing program startup time. Furthermore, ACO uses fewer SGPR/VGPR registers, reducing the need for the resource-intensive memory spilling operations when registers are insufficient. The first release of PG Balancer, an AI-powered PostgreSQL load balancer with a REST API and MQTT, has been published. PG Balancer provides connection, pooling, and load balancing for PostgreSQL, is managed over HTTP, and supports real-time event streaming. The project is a fork of PGPool-2 with significant improvements for intelligent request routing. The code is written in C and is distributed under the PostgreSQL open source license. Sculpt 25.10, a project developing an operating system based on Gnode OS framework technologies, is now available for everyday use. The project's source code is licensed under the AGPL-v3 license. A system image is available for download, suitable for use on PCs, PinePhone smartphones, and MNT Reform laptops. It supports systems with Intel processors and graphic subsystems with VT-D and VT-X extensions enabled, as well as ARM systems with VMM extensions. The Gnode framework provides a unified infrastructure for creating user applications running on top of the Linux kernel, 32 and 64-bit, or several other architectures. It includes the para-virtualized Linux kernel L4 Linux, which runs on top of the Fiasco.oc microkernel, allowing regular Linux programs to run in the Gnode environment. The L4 Linux kernel does not interact directly with the hardware, but uses Gnode services through a set of virtual drivers. The BrushShi 2.3.0 raster graphics editor, codenamed Vientiane, has been released. The editor supports stickers, frames, and effects, saving to various formats, custom palettes, and image gallery navigation. The project's code is written in Python using the custom tkinter graphics toolkit and is distributed under the MPL 2.0 license. Ready-to-use builds are available for Windows and Linux, Deb and RPM. The editor is available in English with only partial localizations for other languages. SeaMonkey 2.53.22 has been released. It combines a web browser, email client, NMTP conferencing client, newsfeed aggregation system, and the WYSIWYG HTML editor composer into a single product. Pre-installed add-ons include the Chatzilla IRC client, the DOM Inspector web developer toolkit, and the Lightning Calendar app. The new release includes fixes and changes from the current Firefox codebase, based on the Firefox 60.8 browser engine, with security fixes and some improvements backported from the latest Firefox releases. Most of the changes in the new version are related to the development of the Chatzilla IRC client, which features a more modern design theme, improved settings and menus, a redesigned plugin installation dialog, and added network connection, user, and direct client-to-client chat information to the status bar. Builds for 32-bit systems have been discontinued. Other bug and performance improvements have been made. Canonical has begun shipping separate packages for Ubuntu 25.10 with executables built with optimizations for the x86 64v3 architecture. Currently, approximately 2,000 packages from the main repository are available for the x86 64v3 as an option. These packages have not been tested at the main package level, but are already available for enthusiasts seeking maximum performance. Ubuntu 26.04 plans to build x86 64v3 optimized versions of all existing packages and ensure their full testing. The ability to use packages with x86 64v3 optimizations has been implemented without breaking support for older hardware. Dpackage, apt, and Launchpad have been updated to allow for building and distributing packages for multiple x86 64 architecture variants simultaneously. In most cases, the performance gained when building with optimizations for the x86 64v3 architecture is approximately 1%, but in certain situations, applications that perform heavy calculations may see a more notable performance increase. Nate Graham has published the latest KDE development report. There are a number of notable changes being developed for the release of KDE Plasma 6.6 scheduled for February 12th, and full details can be found at the link in the show notes. Julian Andres Kloda, the main maintainer of the APT project, announced a decision to add Rust code to the apt package manager, as well as to include the Rust compiler, the Rust standard library, and the Sequoia project's PGP toolchain written in Rust as mandatory dependencies. These changes are planned to be implemented no earlier than May 2026, giving Debian porters 6 months to ensure the Rust toolchain works correctly or retire the port. Rust is planned for the implementation of apt components requiring increased security attention, such as parsers for the .deb, .ar, and .tar formats, as well as code for verifying digital signatures. The announcement of the upcoming change notes the importance of allowing the project to move forward and rely on modern tools and technologies, rather than being bogged down trying to make modern software work on legacy systems. Patches implementing the WebAssembly system interface architecture for the Linux kernel have been published on the Linux kernel development mailing list. This allows the kernel to be compiled into WebAssembly intermediate code for subsequent direct execution in a web browser without the need for emulators. Furthermore, the project has implemented the ability to run executable files in the .wasm format for the Linux kernel and developed a web console driver for simulating console interaction in a browser. Tooling has also been developed to simplify the construction of system environments that run in a browser. Shotcut 25.10 has been released. Support for video and audio formats is implemented via FFmpeg. Plugins implementing video and audio effects compatible with Freeor and LADSPA are supported. Shotcut features include multitrack editing, allowing video to be assembled from fragments in various source formats, eliminating the need for preliminary import or recoding. Built-in tools are available for creating screencasts, processing webcam images, and receiving streaming video. The code is written in C++ using the Qt framework and is distributed under the GPL v3 license. Pre-built builds are available for Linux as AppImage, Flatpak, and Snap, Mac OS, and Windows. A speech synthesis feature has been added to the note-taking and subtitle tools, allowing you to read text aloud. The speech synthesis engine uses the Kokorodoki engine with the Kokoro model. You've been listening to Full Circle Weekly News. For more details, see the next issue of the magazine at fullcirclemagazine.org or check the links in the show notes. You can contact me at bardmoss@pm.me. I'll see you next week.